Everybody, good morning. Happy Wednesday on the morning show. Stock Market TV, Spencer Israel, JC Parets, Steve Strazza, Alfonso de Pablos with you today. What are we talking about? I mean, I guess we should probably keep talking about all-time highs because we're still a thing. All-time highs, still a thing. So I actually don't know, as if I ever know what is on Steve and JC's radar. We'll have to kind of ask them to find out. We'll have Kenny Glick stop by today. We'll have Mary stop by today. We'll have Michael Martin stop by today. Michael was at our last event in New Orleans. Always a good hang and always has cool things to say about trader psychology and behavior. So he'll be on at 9 o'clock to hang out, talk to us for a few minutes. So that's what I got going on. What up, chat? How we doing? Good? Yes? Okay. Everyone's here? On we go.
All right, we are back on the morning show.
Hey, guys.
Steve Strazza, new digs. Camera's not working. That gross cord still back there.
Still there.
Strazza working on the digs. I like when you shoot outside. I'm not gonna lie.
You like that? We'll do that every now and then. That was fun. That was fun.
In July in Florida. Not too hot for a sweaty man like yourself?
No, when I was doing it the other day and the pool guy showed up. So he got to watch the morning show live, backstage pass for free. I don't know if he knows that, but
listen, Spencer, you hear that? You know you're big time when you have a pool guy.
I just kept going. I thought he would enjoy it.
See,
be careful with wifey. You know how these pool guys,
growing up, see, I was the pool guy growing up. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right. The best are the signs on the highway. Your wife is hot. For the pool companies.
That's a Florida man thing.
Yeah. Big billboards.
We got workers' comp attorneys. Injured on the job?
Yeah,
that's what we got.
Yeah. Class action attorneys.
A lot of that.
Is anybody Strazza? I was pinging you yesterday. You should go get your world coin.
Yeah.
Go get your retina scanned.
Okay. So can you explain your text? JC's texting me last night. Basically, there's a physical location in Florida where I can get digital money.
There's one in Miami, one in Orlando.
I don't understand.
They go and they give you 50 world coin, which is about 80 cents.
Why? What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys have been seeing these companies just absolutely getting slaughtered. Are you seeing this, Spencer? We'll get to the state of the markets, but this is important. Throw up slide 2 there quickly, Spencer.
Who's getting slaughtered?
Throw up slide 2. So these companies, these pump and dumps, they're basically these AI robots are convincing people to send them money, give them good trade ideas, and then they make them a little bit of money, and then the next one just gets absolutely destroyed. And this is all AI convincing people. So there's more and more of a need every single day for humans to be able to confirm that they are in fact humans and not robots.
Well, it's not all AI. They use AI to help fool people, but this is literally traditional pump and dump, but for 2025.
Spencer's right. Classic pump and dump scheme using AI, and it's only gonna get worse. At the end of the day, there's more and more reasons for us to confirm humanity, right?
Yeah, this is social media advertising plus AI faking stuff equals pump and dump, right?
Plus communist Chinese and Russians. I mean, all the worst things on the planet all in one.
There's a lot of parties to blame here, but
how'd you even find out about this? These companies are tiny.
Well, no, these are tiny. Well, Herb Greenberg's been talking about them, first of all, and they're not tiny. That Parcom Biological is over $1 billion market capitalization. So no, they're not tiny at all.
But that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Agreed. Hence why you, Steve Strazza, Florida man, should go over. Spencer, you should too. How far are you from Paramus, New Jersey?
45, 50 minutes.
I'll meet you there next week if you want. It's on my way to the city.
Why?
So we can get our 50 world coin. and then we can confirm in the future that we're humans. You know,
Citizens of the world, really.
I mean, listen, the robots are citizens of the world too. They're just not humans. There's just going to be more and more robots. If you think that these humanoids are not going to have a higher population than humans, it's going to be like New Zealand. You know how we're always breaking Louis' balls that there's like 10 times more sheep in New Zealand than humans? That's how it's going to be with the robots.
I think it's really important that all the stuff people are discussing with AI, I think the one of the most important things is the humanoids. We got to draw a line in the sand right now. You don't want these things looking like humans. I think that's so important. What do you get what I'm saying? If you make the robots look too much like humans, shit gets fucking wacky.
Well, I hate to break it to you, and people are going to do whatever the hell they want, which is my point, that we're going to need to confirm that we are in fact humans and not robots. Like, imagine you go to a bar, you're talking to a pretty girl, you're like, oh man, this chick is into me, blah, blah, blah. And then you get home and then it's like, oh my God, it was a robot, right? Like that would be a bummer, right? So you got to confirm that the attractive female is in fact human. Or maybe some people are into robots, I guess, you know, to each his own. I don't judge. Whatever you do in your bedroom is your business, not mine. The less I know, the better, actually.
Okay, so to recap, there are way more ETFs than there are stocks. There are going to be more fake humans than there are real humans. There are more dead people than living people on Facebook. We are heading.
Is that true?
That's been true for a while.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're heading towards a reality where it's just synthetic everything.
Dude, I have a social media account that's been dead forever. I'm not going to mention any names, and I tried to delete the account, and it doesn't let me delete the account. So like all these people are in this social media app so that they can tell investors how many users they have. But the truth is that once you're in, they don't let you delete your account. I tried to delete my account and I couldn't. What a fucking scam. God bless them.
Great.
JC, somebody's looking for a Avalon foods recommendation.
Avalon food recommendations. You got to get the langoustines at El Posto. The langoustines. Langoustines are hard to find.
What is that?
Langoustines are like they're like long shrimp, but they're not really shrimp. They're like in the crustacean family, right? They're not lobsters, they're not shrimp, they're not prawns. They're langoustines.
Sure.
Look them up. Dude, you're gonna pay a fortune for them. They're not cheap, but whatever. Nice. You deal with it. You're Avalon. It's not the place to be a cheapskate if you're in Avalon. Get the langoustines at El Posto. Fantastic. Listen, the breakfast at Fish and Pier. I mean, man, you know, sausage, eggs, the whole thing. You know, real good. Oh, you know where? What's the name of the damn restaurant? Something the Drunken Horse, the Dizzy Horse, something like that. It's right across the street from Kitty Corner, from Princeton. It's right on the corner. A lot of BYOB in that town. So bring your own booze. The Drunken Horse, the Rocking Horse, maybe something like that.
Cool.
Delicious.
I've been using ChatGPT a lot with the move to like find out about neighborhoods and where things are and where to go to eat and where to go to shop.
The diving horse. The diving horse.
Horses don't dive.
No shit. Very creative.
I don't think you get into something like the Sound Hound today, Nagayama. No, I don't think so.
Shall we, my friends?
Copper. Sure. We're gonna talk about copper.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot happening today. We got the Dow futures up 140 points after the quote-unquote epic sell-off that Spencer was sensationalizing yesterday.
Epic rally, more like.
No doubt. I mean, it's a bull market. I don't know if you've heard, but in bull market, stocks tend to go up. So Dow up 1/3%. It's 140 points to the upside. 44,650 for the Dow. I will say that again. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, world's most important index, 44,650. Wow. S&P 500 futures also up 0.25%, 15 handles to the upside, pushing 6,300 for the S&P. NASDAQ 100 futures up 50 points, pushing 23,000 for the NASDAQ 100. These are numbers we've never seen before in history. Going back all the way to the dinosaurs, never seen these numbers ever. U.S. Treasury bonds flat this morning at 113 for the 30-year bond futures. Crude oil flat as well, just under 69. Copper down 2% after a historic move ever yesterday. Biggest move ever for copper, pulling back a little bit today, still just below 560 for copper. Gold down 0.5%, 3,300 even. Silver down 1/3%, 3,660, with the VIX down this morning, looking to break 16 to the downside. Over in funny money land, this is where the big news is. You got Bitcoin, 109,500 for Bitcoin. Rocking my BTC shirt today. How do you like me now?
Love it.
And going down the cap scale, we got Ethereum up 1.7%, another 50 points to the upside, 2662 for ETH. We're seeing the highest levels that we've seen in almost a month here for the ETH. We're looking at Solana 155 up another 1.7%. Solana looks ready to go. Total crypto market cap, Mr. Spencer Israel, 3.36 trillion. 3.36 trillion.
Okay.
What stands out from today's futures?
There's a lot here.
Oh,
So a month ago, maybe a little more, we went on, we did a special about commodities. We were excited about commodities. This is around when silver was breaking out. And we told the story, right? The intermarket theme that tends to kind of unfold in commodities cycles, where it's gold and precious metals first, and then the base or the industrial metals, stuff like copper, and then the energy follows last, right? And we talked about crude oil is probably not going to complete a top. Silver's breaking out and following gold. Copper's probably going to break out next.
Platinum.
Now you're getting it, right? In a big way, I would say a decisive breakout.
Can we throw up the chart there, slide 8, please?
You get these momentum thrusts at inflection points, right? They can mark bottoms, they can mark tops, but they can also mark major breakouts, right? This is a key polarity zone, and copper is just breaking out in a big, big way, following the path of gold. Best day ever. Is that crazy though? Best day ever? Really? I said to Alfonso, I said, is it really? Wow. And it's not just copper, JC. Things are going on with commodities and commodity stocks broadly. Materials quietly had their best day in about 5 years on a relative basis last week. XLB back above the prior cycle highs, back above any VWAP. Buyers in control. Look out for commodity stocks. How come nobody owns these things?
You really want me to go there?
It's a problem, is it not? I think it's going to become a problem.
It's a problem for the people who don't own it, and that's not our problem. Actually, I prefer that. So fuck them, right? So just selfishly, we're here to make money for ourselves. So the fact that people don't own them, as terrible as it is for them, we are grateful for those types of people.
Market participants in general, I feel like, barely acknowledge the existence of material stocks. What is the biggest material stock in the US? Go.
I mean, it's Lind.
Not a US stock.
It is a US stock. It's like from fucking Ohio or something like that. It's one of those tax scams where they say they're from Ireland or something like that, but they're
is
not.
That right?
Yeah.
My point is, JC, you don't even know because nobody talks about these things. They're just an afterthought. Stocks like Sherwin-Williams, Southern Copper.
Sherwin-Williams, yep, exactly. Sherwin-Williams Dow component. Shout out to Sherwin-Williams, newest addition to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Fun fact.
Vulcan Materials. We bought calls in Dow.
Dow Chemical.
Like Dow.
Yeah. Let me answer your question. It's a few things. First of all, people don't own it, don't want to talk about it because recency bias is very strong with the weakest humans. Like humans that are the most mentally weak and lazy for that matter have just not gone back and studied history and understand history. and it's not, and it's a combination of newcomers to the market that just weren't around, someone like yourself that wasn't around trading in aggressive commodity super cycles that you saw in the 70s or that you saw in the 2000s. And there are people who just weren't there for that, right?
Yeah.
Now, in addition to that, there were people who were there for that and they just forgot, right? So that's even worse, right? But it's not an excuse either way if you weren't there. So then there's the recency bias of technology and growth being such an outperformer for so long, big bear market for energy, for commodities in general for so long that people just completely forgot about it, left it for dead. In addition to that, you're seeing it from the ETF providers because there's no demand for the ETFs. For commodities, there are no commodity ETFs, and therefore there is no way for investors to participate in those commodities because there's no ETF. So it's the chicken or the egg, which came first. The ETF providers don't want to give it to the people don't want it, so they don't give it to the people, and it just goes back and forth. So there's a lot of things going on. And then finally, we live in the United States of America. We're not known for digging holes in the ground and looking for rocks. That's a Canadian thing. It's a Chilean thing. It's a South African thing. It's an Australian thing. It's not the American way. Here in America, good old America, we build apps to deliver food. We build, apps to take you around places. We build, telephones to communicate with one another and send each other, dick pics and whatnot, right? Like that's what we do here in America. Yeah. And other countries are just not like that. So other countries, have had that FOMO being like, oh, I'm stuck in these stupid rock companies when I could have been in the tech. So even the countries that do have that exposure, they're upset about it too because they've been underperforming. So like everybody has shifted. It's home country bias, it's recency bias, it's laziness, it's stupidity. It's ETF providers have not given the people anything because they don't want it, right? To their credit. It's a lot of things. And because of that, altogether, I think that there's tremendous upside in just the entire commodity complex. And I'll leave you with this. One thing we know about these commodity super cycles is that historically, they don't just last for a few quarters or even a few years. They last for a decade or two. So if you're betting that this is over, you're betting that this is going to be the shortest commodity super cycle ever.
Yep.
And if that's how you want to play it, knock yourself out. Fortunately, you got a lot of company there. I am not playing it that way. I think we're just getting started.
I think you had the initial thrust in the beginning, really in 2020, right?
Well, I mean, you want to talk about capitulation, crude oil traded below zero.
Yeah, but the commodity super cycle isn't brand new. It's just legging higher, right? Like
we were just Ellioticians, I know Strazza doesn't get down with the Elliott waves. It's a CMT thing.
I don't get down.
It's a CMT thing.
They're fine for me.
This would be a wave 3 just getting started, wave 3. So we just completed that wave 2 down after that initial thrust, that initiation thrust, if you will, that Strazza is describing from 2020.
Good. I'm on board, JC. I love it. It's usually the moment when investors completely throw out the idea of something and consider it uninvestable, where you really want to pay attention. And if you look at the relative trend in material stocks, it's been 20 years of just gross underperformance, consistently lagging the broader market.
I like we did the gross because it's gross as an ugly and gross return, right?
It's bad. It's just bad, JC. And I don't think it goes on forever.
Can we talk about angry people and people hating great things? Can we talk about slide 4, please? We've talked about it before. It keeps getting worse. We keep making more money. Strazza's been pounding the table. God. And despite all of that, they continue to short the ARK stocks.
Who's doing this? Like, who is doing this? Who's not paying attention? It is crazy to try to step in and short the worst stocks in this environment. It's a death sentence. Like, what big money people are actually coming out and shorting this market?
Slide 5, please, sir.
It blows my mind.
When you talk about the worst stocks, the worst stocks are hitting the highest levels in 30 months.
It's amazing. You say it all the time. People are just really good at making bad decisions when it comes to the market. And
thank God. Thank God. Could you imagine if humans actually made good decisions? We'd be out of a job.
Hot Pepper
We'd be
suggesting
buying mutual funds and like selling insurance and reminding people they're going to die or some shit. Right? You know, could you imagine?
Hot Pepper suggesting that it's the angry Dems shorting ARK stocks. Maybe. We've seen the polls.
I mean, listen, that's part of it. We know that angry Democrats all think the stock market's going to collapse. So that's part of it. But that's not all of it. You know, there's angry Republicans out there too, to be fair. You know, in fact, I know plenty of angry Republicans too. They're not angry about who the president is. They're angry about other things, but they're angry too. So it's not just angry liberals. It's just angry humans. It's the humans. It's not the politics. It's the humans.
So look, hold on. We got excited. We went straight to commodities, but don't ignore the cryptos out here. You have your Bitcoin shirt on. I kind of love it. Ripple's hitting its highest level since late May today.
You like my Bitcoin shirt? It's dope, right?
I think it's great. I love it. Solana looks like it could be finally coming out of this coil. Ethereum is one big green candle away from breaking out of just a really, really sweet continuation pattern. And Bitcoin, if those things are happening, is to and through 110. And then the breakout is on. So I've been thinking about NFTs. Look at this chart. Look at the chart. Look at the chart. Stop what you're doing. Look at the chart. Look at the squeeze indicator here. How much more patient do we have to be? A move is coming. So in the best cryptos, you had this incredible ramp, right, during the election rally last year and post-election rally. And then just this, nothingness, digestion of those gains, straight sideways. Solana looks similar to this, right? I mean, and if you zoom out, if you were to zoom out on something like this, you just draw it like a big triangle. This is an awesome coil. So that volatility, after it pumped during the election, it used up so much of that energy, right, for the trend that had to go sideways for now the past several quarters. And that volatility squeeze indicator has been down at the bottom of its range, like on the mat, and it's just waiting for some momentum to come into this. And I think it could be happening right here.
Crypto punks up another 4% this morning, pushing 108,000.
And it's better on the Ripple. You could drop the VWAP from the high, the January high, and it's right here, like 240 and change, right here. CryptoPunks what?
CryptoPunks up another 4% today, 107,000 for the floor price. Since you're all about NFTs these days, so that's about 40 ETH, 40 and a half ETH for the CryptoPunks. 107,700.
Think it'll be a better investment than the whiskey?
You know what's interesting, and we're gonna get to Kenny right now. You know, definitely nobody invests in whiskey. That's a bad idea. You drink the whiskey, you don't invest in it. That's number one. Rule number one of investing: don't invest in whiskey. And if you're curious as to why, call Strazza and he'll tell you what a bad idea that was.
It was not a good idea.
In addition to that, what I've been debating back and forth in my own head and with others is, you know, Bitcoin and CryptoPunks were both around 100,000 at the same time. The question is, which one gets to 200 first, Bitcoin or CryptoPunks? My bet has been CryptoPunks.
You think CryptoPunks?
If Bitcoin goes to 200, you think CryptoPunks are only going to be at 200? I'd say they're probably at 300 or 400.
Is it not like if the ETH BTC ratio is rising, CryptoPunks win, right?
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, that's probably right.
I'm with you then.
Yeah, I'm in it. I bought another CryptoPunk at like 70,000 or like 67,000. I'm up like 40%, 50% or something like that. Nice trade, Jay.
At the end of the day, are the NFTs not just a beta trade, right?
No.
You don't think so?
Most of them suck.
But
they're not a beta trade.
It's offense, though.
No, it's not. Right. It is offense. It's certainly not defense. But as far as a pure beta trade on crypto, maybe the CryptoPunks. But when you go down the cap scale, there's a lot of garbage there. Let's go to Kenny. Spencer, bring him out.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my clock, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 problems, and I still kept it 100. Hola.
Kenny's camera's off, but is here.
Mr. Kenny Glick in the house. Kenny Glick with the open house this week. Kenny, when I was younger, open houses were something else.
Well, yeah, some of them.
I remember drinking my first beers at open houses. You know, parents out of town,
Oh,
Someone's parents are out of town. Next thing you know, you got 100 of your closest friends at the crib. You know?
oh, I thought you were just talking about like when you became an adult and you went shopping for homes. You went to an open house.
No, bro. People still do that?
Yeah, for the free cheese. You know, I have a little cheese platter that's been out there for a couple hours.
Dude, I just bought a lake house. There was no open house. I went to Zillow like a normal person. No?
Zillow. Yeah.
Open
Zillow.
house.
No,
What year is it?
I'm using that. Oh, speaking of Kathy Wood, that disruptive technology, Open Door, right? Where you go to the house and you buy it just virtually, right? Where's that stock? 70 cents, right?
That was a disaster.
Well played, Kathy Wood. Disruptive companies. She still thinks Teladoc's a disruptive company, and Zoom and Roku. Good job. Yeah, I hear she's doing better now because the market never goes down, but still a hack. Still
$5 billion in assets in that ARC. That's not nothing.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a fan, but you know what? I am a fan. This song. You guys know this song? Yes, you do. It's Ripple. Who's been in Ripple since the start? This guy, 2016. When I heard there was a crypto coin called Ripple, I said, I'm in. And you know what? I'm still in the same stuff I bought back in 2017. It was like walking into a donut shop. Oh, let me see. There's something called Tron. I'm in. You want to talk some crypto? Tron. So what are you talking about? Fart coin again? What's broker boys? What were you saying?
WorldCoin.
WorldCoin. I don't know. But you know what I'm doing right now? I'm looking into bulletin boards. I'm looking for Enron. I'm looking for Blockbuster because that's what we've been doing now. We've been dumpster diving, bro. We're buying stocks that have no business moving, like Wolf. Did you see what this Wolf did? Give me some more bankrupt companies to buy at 40 cents and have them go 10x in 3 days. This is the greatest time to be a trader right now. And everything I've ever learned about trading is all coming true right this second. The only thing that's different is that this environment that we're in, as I learned back in the 90s, was the dash for trash. And this used to be, it would mean that the market has become too complacently bullish and they're just not enough good stocks to buy. That we're just going dumpster diving right now. And that used to, lead into a correction. That doesn't work anymore because this dumpster dive moment, we've been living it for like 2 years now, and pretty much for 5 or 6 years since COVID. Every day there's a therapeutic stock. Every day there's a resurrected dog shit stock that rallies 10x. This is the greatest time to be a trader I have ever seen in my life. And the hits keep coming. The hits keep coming. You guys know about this S-Bet? Let's go. S-Bet, baby. Come on. Have you seen what this thing's about to do? Did you get involved in Myrna?
I like what he just said. Have you seen what this thing is about to do? I see what you did there, Kenny.
Yes. I mean, it's unbelievable. And by the way, this SRAD, right? Boring, but now we got our 7 points out of it. Don't sell it, by the way. SRAD, about to break into the 30s, all-time highs. Let's go. The greatest market. And by the way, I don't believe that whole thing about bull markets make us all geniuses. I am a genius. How about that? I would
agree with that. Listen, people like yourself have very high IQs. It's dumb people can't be as funny as you are. Dumb people can't spend every single day for 30-something years day trading. That's not a stupid people kind of thing. And at the end of the day, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't necessarily have to be all that smart. We just have to be slightly less stupid than everybody else.
What are you talking about? I'm smart. Not like they said. I was stepped over, Mike. I'm smart.
Shout out to the Godfather. I was talking to Don Corleone yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Right, the nicest guy on Wall Street, right?
Dude, he's too nice to be on Wall Street.
Too nice. Absolutely. You got to get an edge, but that's the name of our show, so it's going to be the edge.
No, I like Don Corleone. He comes to the market from a good place mentally. He's in the right place to succeed versus, we've seen all these clowns come and go, look for a quick buck, all this stuff, looking to, get rich quick and all that stuff. He ain't one of those guys. Like, he knows, right. He's coming to this with the right approach. I really respect that. So shout out to Don Corleone.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can't wait to have him be a part of the show. So that's going to be a fun time. Probably just get that going at the end of July, maybe beginning.
Maybe sooner. We had a great conversation yesterday. Don Corleone. Shout out to the Don. Got to get him on the show, Spencer. Come on, Spencer. Get Don Corleone on the show. Don Corleone.
Don. But listen, friends, I mean, this has been, it's been really exciting. And these stocks that are breaking out, we finally got paid on Sedge, finally. After we got paid and then it dumped. It's about time. Myrna yesterday. These breakouts continue to keep happening. MR, if you guys have been watching Myrna, this is the first real up move the stock's had since COVID. That was a really nice follow through. Still got some. But really, this market is just absolutely incredible. You guys are SOUN, loving it yesterday. Yeah. When these stocks start to move, you usually get 3 massive days out of them. And, in those 3 days, you can make, 5, 10x. So I don't think I've ever been this bullish. No, it's just, this is what you call psychotically bullish.
Well, Kenny was talking about dumpster diving. Kenny's talking about going to the bulletin boards. Strazza's talking about, we're looking for scams. Yeah, that's right. That's what we're doing. If you are curious as to whether a company is a scam or not, and you're like, oh, I don't know, I think it's a scam, I don't want to buy it. No. We should buy more because it's a scam.
I love it.
This is the type of market environment we're in. So big shout out to the scam artists out there. Eventually they'll get caught, they'll go to jail. But us as traders and investors will not. We have the right to participate in all of these scams and make as much money as we want. And there's nothing illegal about it. It's a beautiful thing. Highly encourage it.
If you put out a company named Scam AI right now, I'd put my life savings into it right now.
All in. All in.
Scam AI.
All right, Kenny has to go. He has to go live in his room in his open house. So we'll see you there. Link is on screen in chat. 2 more days, today and tomorrow. Kenny's open house.
And by the way, if you'd like to meet me, I'll be in Nashville this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll be hanging out. So if anybody's in Nashville, text me. We're gonna
Hattie Bees, Kenny. Hattie Bees.
All right. Yes.
Check it out.
All that.
All right. And he's gone. All right. Link to get into Kenny's open house is on screen, or was on screen, and is in the chat. As I said, he'll be live.
Go put on a trade with Kenny. Go do that. We're cool, definitely. Strazza's kind of cool. The rest of us are really cool. But trading with Kenny is awesome. Go in there, put an actual trade on, follow him into a trade. I think you're really going to enjoy that experience a lot. And it's interesting, open houses. I remember my first open house, Strazza, down in Miami. I was just a young lad.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even driving yet. And it was dark. It was Miami. There weren't like lights in the backyard, out in the suburbs. And I meet a pretty girl, or so I thought. And, I was very excited about this girl that I met. This was in my early days. And then we went out on a date like a week or 2 later. And, I see her in the light and she had a mustache. It was like the worst night of my life, but I felt bad. So I stayed with her the rest of the night, watched the movie with her. It was the whole thing. She had a mustache the whole time. I never saw it in the dark in the open house. So that was my first open house.
Was she a girl?
No, she was a girl. No, she was female. She just had a mustache. It was, and not like a little peach fuzz. Like it was a whole bigote.
I got nothing on this.
I don't, as usual, I don't know what to say.
Speaking of cool, Michael Martin is literally the definition of cool. I was just reading up on his book this morning. I mean, this guy, coolest trader alive, maybe. You know who loves Mike's book and is always talking to me about Mike's book? Patrick.
I can't reach it. It's too high off the bookshelf, but I would.
Yeah. It's really good stuff. But seriously, I think this is one of those books that like every trader needs to read. Top 10. Just it's on that all-time greats list.
Dude, I was on the phone with Mike Martin yesterday as I was grilling wings. Just chatting with Mike Martin and grilling some wings. I make killer wings, dude.
I can get lost in conversation with Mike Martin. He's just one of those guys.
He sent us a few charts, by the way, slide 13 and beyond, one of which is an OTC stock. So he's got his mind on the junk.
What a freak. All right,
his mind on the junk.
Dude, we're going to have an event at the New York Athletic Club soon. I cannot wait. Strazza, you got to fly up.
I have news for you. I'm coming next week.
You're coming here next week?
I don't know. I don't know if I have time to see you. Last time I was up there, you did blow me off. I did not forget about that.
I blew you off?
You blew me off. Yeah.
Are you coming next week? Because I'm busy on Thursday.
Here we go. See, Spencer? See?
I'm busy on Thursday, but I'm relatively free. Otherwise, I'm gonna see if I can maybe squeeze you into my busy schedule. No promises though. I don't make promises I can't deliver on.
Would love to come and see you. No, we're gonna be up there for a couple days. Thursday
Dude,
to
can we
Sunday.
play golf? Because I have these beautiful golf courses that I never use.
Dude. Yes, we can play golf, and I am making new golf friends here, and I'm just super excited about it.
And are
Haven't
they
played yet.
at least twice your age or no?
No, but like seriously, slide into my DMs. I'm looking for some new golf buds. I'm in the market for some
Why
golf.
don't you reach out to Andrew Adams? He's over there.
I will. I think I will.
Andrew
Yep.
Adams is over there. There's a lot of Florida man people out there.
A couple of our friends of the show and clients have reached out, so that's awesome. And
I was talking to I was talking to Jack yesterday. He's I don't know if you guys follow Jack at Alpha Charge 365.
Oh yeah,
He's
I love his
over in
stuff.
Palm Beach.
Oh, he's in Palm Beach. Yeah, that's
In
not
Palm
close to me, JC. If you look at a map of Florida, where's my
I'm familiar. I'm familiar.
Okay.
with where, I get it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
While you get the map of Florida,
Watch
I'll
the
get.
Everglades and go say hi. Aren't you like in that Palm Beach area all the time?
Yeah, but not like I don't live there.
No.
All right.
West Side.
And on that note,
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Michael Martin,
Hey,
what's up, man?
Strazza, how you doing, Steve? How'd the move go?
Did he just disappear?
nah, he's here. He's
here.
he said
it went.
he said be right back.
It went, but you know how like moving is. Like we're still getting through it. Like we're over the hill, but we're still kind of in
It's a
it.
process. It's a process. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's great. It went pretty smooth. Really.
Michael, so you sent us a few charts. Why are 3 of them coffee related?
Yeah, what's with you?
So,
Big coffee
coffee's
guy.
the thing with commodities, right? You could think of them almost as leading indicators, right? So because they're raw materials or inputs, factors of production. There's a lot of words for them. For publicly traded companies, right? So I look for some of the low-hanging fruit. Coffee prices have been getting killed. They're down again today. And if you go to so this is coffee. This is September. You can see it's getting blasted. And what happens though is if you go to your favorite coffee joint, whether it's Pete's or Starbucks or what have you, they're not going to drop the prices. You're paying $5 for your cup of coffee, whether you like it or not, right? Same thing with gas and crude oil, right? When those prices come down, they don't change. They do change at the pump, but it doesn't happen that quickly. So what I'm thinking is coffee prices are going to come down, not just September, but the whole term structure comes with it because they're all highly correlated to the cash market. Cash moves first, the futures market follows. So there could be an opportunity in 2 of the stocks there. I put Luckin and Starbucks. The profit margins could go up. There's more to it. This is Luckin. It's that Chinese company. It's not without volatility. There's no options on it, which is probably why. So you kind of have to, grit your teeth.
Now, if the price of coffee rebounded, you wouldn't like these stocks.
Well, I'd still follow the price of the chart. We'll see, because at the end of the day, as users, right? So people who produce the commodity want to sell it forward in the futures market. That creates the hedge. When you're a user, you're inherently short the physical, so you can go out and buy. Now, I don't have any knowledge of whether they actually do that or not, but with prices being down so much, they could definitely buy it forward for years to come and lock in low prices, because they can use options on futures as well. So,
Mike, how much, I guess, weight do you give to historic price levels? Polarity. I'm looking at this chart of coffee, and tell me if I'm doing this wrong, but I mean, you could zoom out forever on this thing.
Yeah.
Throw up a long-term chart, and I see highs that go back, I don't know, 1977, 1986, mid 90s. There's a shelf of old highs here, right? I don't know, just south of 300 that we're kind of pulling back into right now.
Yeah.
Does that price memory matter?
I think it does, because it could signal something that's happening inside the industry, right? So I'm not in the coffee buying market. I know enough about it, but when you see things move to extremes, like we saw that in sugar in 05, 06, were to put in, 10 to then 20-year highs, and nobody was talking about it. That's kind of what I like about some of these. They're in the what we call the softs: coffee, sugar, cocoa, cotton. Used to be in, well, it still is in New York. Then it's
Mike,
the ICE, the Intercontinental Exchange.
Mike, are people ever talking about these assets?
You know what? It's like right under everybody's nose. The sugar went parabolic. It doubled in 4 months, and it didn't show up in any blog post. Nothing in what was then called Twitter. It wasn't in the C section of the Wall Street Journal. Never showed up in Barron's. And I'm like, this is great, because when I was starting out, I didn't have a big account, like a 5 or 6K. So I couldn't trade. I called them the Fab Five after the basketball team in Michigan. Like the yen, the S&P, because the S&P was $500 a point then, crude oil, gold, because those were all the. If any random journalist was going to write an article, they would typically go to the low-hanging fruit of those, commodities at the time, and that could really move the market, because it was pre-internet, pre-mobile technology, and I couldn't get steamrolled by. Well, I didn't want to get steamrolled by a journalist who would write one of those articles. So, and with the account being so small, it was good to go trade. Like corn was trading at like $2.50.
Sure.
Coffee, like I said, coffee, sugar, cocoa, cotton, they would never show up in the newspaper. And I'm like, once you can catch some of the trends in these moves, given the leverage, like you can just, it's not like you can print money, but you could sleep at night, take a position home overnight over the weekend, and really grow your account. And that's kind of how I did it.
And Mike, I appreciate you being here, my man. Good chat last night as I was making wings. Well, night for me, early afternoon for you. Can you school everybody on, you've seen a few cycles, you've traded futures for a long time, the lack of interest, the lack of exposure to commodities, by investors, recency bias, home country bias, lack of investing vehicles, so many things. Can you take us back to prior cycles? Because I remember a time where commodities were the thing, gold and silver. I mean, the sentiment in silver in 2010 was off the charts. Like everybody wanted to be involved in silver. So there were other cycles in the past where investors were actually interested in this sort of thing. Today, they're not. Can you tell us just about the past and how things have changed since then?
Yeah, I think the market's bifurcated. Like what we do, I work with Victor Sperandio, and it's mostly institutional, right? The retail side of the trade has been distracted by AI and crypto, right? So that's where their focus is. It's also low. It's not lower hanging fruit as if it's easier to get into. Look what they did. They cut the S&P 500 contract by 10, right? So it's $50 a point. When I started, it was 40,000 in margin. You couldn't trade it. So they've tried to appeal to the retail investor, but I think the retail investor is enamored with crypto and AI right now. So the institutions are like, they're on a 50-year plan, and they're saying, okay, we can get and improve our diversification by using, say, managed futures. CTAs have been trend files been getting killed. So I just think that's the mindset of the market right now, is that what they think of as alternative investments has expanded, right? And so commodities have become, a bit of the redheaded stepchild. But on the institutional side, the appetite is still very, very strong because of the way it shifts the investment frontier, right, up and in. So it cuts your risk and it gives you another 200 basis points on your P&L. So, and you don't have to sell anything. You can post, your treasury bills as margin. So they don't have to sell anything. They can use their bills as collateral. So I think the market's bifurcated from the retail to the institutional side in terms of interest.
And what about, the fact that, the S&P 500 is literally built to go up. It buys more of the best ones and it kicks out the worst ones, right? So like it's literally designed to go up. When commodities, it's not like that. These commodities are not long-term trends like an S&P 500 or Dow or NASDAQ. They're very mean reverting in nature. You've got cocoa or coffee doing one thing and crude oil and natural gas doing the exact opposite. So like, it's not like they move together either. They're all dancing to the beat of their own drum, right?
Yeah.
Is there an element of that scares investors or keeps them away? Maybe not to get scared, but kind of keeps them away, the complications.
Yeah, I think there's also, like, when you listen to especially politicians, they're like, what's the asset? You're not buying anything. There's no value the way you could look at stocks. And it's like, so they financial literacy in the country is generally, swirling in the toilet when you think about it just overall. But no, when do you think, people are in school, studying foreign languages or art history or gender studies or whatever? They don't know their ass from a hole in the ground when it comes to commodities. Right? All they see is crude oil futures, and they get angry when the price goes up. They don't understand the
gender studies.
It's like, all the stuff going on right now. Like, are you trans? Are you, do you identify as something else? There's a whole.
They give college degrees for that.
Yeah.
And people pay for that.
A lot of money. Yeah. You can go to like these schools and drop a ton of cash, come out of school.
It's a hell of a scam. Good for them.
300,000 in debt with no possibility of getting a job. That's going to pay back the debt. But I think it's important. It's important to study that stuff, I suppose. It just depends who's paying for the education. So the commodity markets, what it is to me in futures is really like an insurance market. You're transferring risk between people. So to me, the risk premia is really what the asset is, if you will. And it's, just like in trading equities, I think you may find out at the end of the year that there were 2 or 3 trends that made the whole year, where a lot of the other positions have washed.
Mike, what do you like here?
So I put a couple of names up. Obviously Platinum, Palladium have been working on the commodity side. I think on the stock side, if the coffee market still falls off, you might find a trade in Starbucks that looks like it's cup and handling out there. I'm not sure about Luckin. I just put it up because it
Throw
looked
that
like
up there. Throw that up to Starbucks.
Yeah. So this could be for any number of reasons. It could be coffee coming down. I'm sure, with their institutional power, they can create, white paper off market, over the counter style agreements to acquire their coffee. They could look at futures. There's a million ways for them to do it. I also thought, like, with Tesla coming under duress, with people having a strong reaction to Elon Musk starting his own political party. I know what's next for this guy. Is he going to branch off and start his own sovereign country? I mean, the guy, right? So
what a huge disappointment.
I mean, he could. I mean, how much does it cost to start a country these days? Can't be much.
It's like $50K. It's not
50
that much.
grand to start a new country.
I'm just saying. I don't know. For whatever him, it's a rounding error anyway. Like, what does it matter?
What does it matter?
Right. It's $1 billion. Like, these are fun coupons. What does he care? So I was looking at Tesla, and with the lower highs recently, you can look at this chart and see a million things. But if it does roll over, there's a lot of folks who I've consulted to, they got 25, 50K. They're looking at put options maybe on Tesla. It's the premium are very, very high for, smaller accounts. So I did a little digging, and the next chart I found a 2x short Tesla ETF.
Basing.
Nice base.
And so this is like, since it's 2x short, it's $20 as the product, but they also have options on it. So for the folks who want to bet short without having to short Tesla stock, without having to buy $15 premiums in the puts for the, whatever the 50 deltas for the August expiration, might be a little rich. I don't like doing net debit, bear put spreads, because you're limited as to how much you could make. So this might be an alternative for, the smaller accounts out there that could play the market short, either with, the ticker itself, TSLQ.
And how about Elon hating on our boy Dan Ives?
Dude.
Throw that up, Mike. Throw that slide up there. We got that. We got the tweet. We got it.
Here's the problem with Elon Musk and Tesla, and I love this TSLQ idea, Mike. I want to own shares in companies where the CEO goes to bed at night worrying about what he can do to make the stock price higher.
You're not wrong.
Elon Musk goes to bed at night thinking, what can I do to fuck shit up for my shareholders? And you're right, JC, he doesn't give a shit about it. Right? And that, to me, is a problem. if you own the stock forever. You have a CEO.
As opposed to
doesn't
Dara
care.
or Brian Armstrong or others, correct?
Right. They're out there trying to like build shareholder value. Elon doesn't care if he destroys it because he's got too much goddamn money.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
He's at the point now where he gives 0 Fs. Like, I just don't think he cares about, at least, if you have to look at his behavior, that's, behavior is what, predicts where you end up in life. So I don't have a sense that he's solely focused on Tesla. Maybe he's done a great job of hiring awesome people, right? But he's not anything near like what Steve Jobs was, like when he had, almost, that partnership with Johnny Ives or is that his name? The product design guy who was inside Apple, and they were obsessive about beauty and design and what that would mean to the end user. If Elon came to Tesla with that type of mindset, yeah, I think it would really change things around. But
instead,
perception's reality right now.
He's unhinged and just mean. Dan Ives hasn't been like some adamant bear on Tesla stock. He's been the biggest bull on Wall Street. That's the way you're going to talk to the biggest bullish analyst on your stock? It's crazy to me.
Yeah. He's definitely not doing himself any favors as far as shareholders, because you just never know what's going to come out of his mouth, and that to me poses a risk. And again, when I was starting out, he provides too much risk that I can't quantify. You know what I'm saying? Like in the investment, because I'm a person who takes futures and stock home over the weekend and overnight, but it's too risky.
So let's talk about these inverse ETFs, though, because I find myself using them more and more. I think there's always been kind of an idea out there that some of these are just not quality vehicles.
Yeah.
However, you're as experienced of a trader as anybody, plenty familiar with, using different derivatives markets. However, you're using this inverse Tesla fund. Do you find it gets the job done? No problem? These funds?
I mean, it looks like it does. I think you have to take it on a case by case basis. And then, I think we show our bias in our position sizing, right? That's where fear and greed show up. So if you have appropriate position sizing, then, it's like anything else. What's the expected value of your trading? I can't, I listen to people, and if they dislike the guy, they might go extra heavy, but those types of things can come back on you. So as long as you're trading, consistent position sizing, know what you're risking, use options if you're not comfortable. In this case, you can buy calls for under $200 a contract here. So it could be a way to make the trade and stay within your risk parameters. And then at that point, I don't see a problem.
People will criticize these funds and say things like, well, they're expensive, they're not built well. I'll tell you what, buying puts in Tesla is expensive too. Yeah,
I mean, I looked last night. As I was kind of getting ready, because I didn't want to show up and not have trades. We'll see how they go. But you're right. When you're looking at something that goes out for 3 weeks and you got to put up $1,500, that shies a lot of people away. And there might be a good trade there. So it's one of the problems of the stock prices being so high is that the option premium goes with it, right? So what are you left to do? Buy put spreads, right? So and then you're capped as to what you can make. And so I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that.
All right, talk to me about some of these other charts that you brought.
All right. I can't see them.
What do we got here? Throw up the next one.
So I think the first one was coffee. I think
Starbucks, Tesla.
Yep.
That's it. That's all we got.
That was coffee. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to. I don't think you need 45 names. The problem is that people have indecision, right? They run their scanners, and they're like, Mike, I ran my scanners. I still have 100 names, right. And so you have to find a way to like cherry pick out of those then and put the trade on. What are you going to do? You typically go to your biases. I try to cut it down to like no more than 6. And then what I do is, this is true for stocks and futures. And then what I'll do is I'll just put my buy stops, because I always enter and exit on stops. I never do anything at the market.
Yeah.
So I would put like my buy stop in above the market and let the market pick it for me. Instead of sitting there, do I want to like, do I really want to sell Elon short? Do I want to do this and that short? I got into all this indecision, and then I'd have to figure it out, and then you have regrets, and then it's not about trading anymore. So I've just figured the easiest process is to put resting buy stops in for my first risk unit. You know, I'm not adverse to adding to the winners. Put on the first risk unit by the buy stop, let the market make the election for me. And this way I'm never chasing. I let the market come to me. If I get filled, I do. If not, I'll come back and do it tomorrow.
And you're not going to leave them out overnight. You're going to reset those orders every new day, right?
Oh, it's a pain in the ass. I actually have a buck slip where I would write up my orders and read them into, because I call them into the floor, and then I get the ticket number. It's a whole process, but it stops me from having errors. It doesn't. There's no way for me to act impulsive. I try to just stay within myself. It's like in golf, right? You get every shot, you have to leave, you know, the previous shot behind you.
Yeah, man. Talk to me. Are you watching this breakout in copper? Do you think this is a real breakout?
Yeah, I think, you know, it could have legs. It's another one of those things, though, where these contracts trade continuously. Now, when I started, there was a definitive open and a close, and now you have to kind of sleep with one foot on the floor as to what's happening. You know, again, manage your risk. That's the key. Is like if you can figure out what your risk unit is, measure things by volatility. Of course, you have to normalize the risk for, you know, all the like we talked about coffee, 37,500 pounds. There's nothing standardized. Like when you do breakout multiplier, you've got the benefit of knowing that everything's 100 shares based on the contract. With commodities, it's all over the place because of how they were stored or how they were shipped and this and that. So, you know, 37,500 pounds of coffee, where'd they come up with that? It's like, well, it's 250 bags, basically. Copper, 25,000 pounds. So you'd have to measure the vol and figure out, like, what's the dollar vol? Look at, like, the 20-day ATR, multiply that through and kind of see what the dollar vol is and make sure that you can withstand it.
You really do have to get to know these markets, right? Like, I tell you, it's happened to me more than once where I log into my Interactive Brokers account thinking I'm going to put on some exposure to one of these commodities markets, and either the margin requirement's ridiculous and I don't want to do it, or the contract's just so illiquid.
Yeah. I mean, copper's liquid. It's you know, it's a stand-in for like the economy in many ways and building, I suppose.
Yeah.
So over the years, I think Mark Watson just asked the question: Do I have a good feel? You know, I trade discretionary and for these markets because I have a million instances of having observed data and watching the markets trade, seeing the confluence of the news and politics. Right now we have tariffs, and then saying like, okay, knowing is there convergence or divergence between the fundamentals and the technicals. I mean, Paul Tudor Jones said it best: price moves first, fundamentals follow. So I think you have to follow the price. So I do have really good intuition. It's just that in the short run, I think we're all lucky. You know, although, you know, I'd love to say that I've got talent. In the short run, we have luck. And to me, it's all like, okay, you get filled, you let the market, you know, trade into your buy stop, you get filled instantaneously, you put in your protective stop, and then, you know, you're going to get knocked out or it's going to continue to move. You can do the 2-for-1 trade like you do as well. I tend to want to hold as much as I possibly can, knowing that, you know, that's just part of it for me. So yeah, I have really good intuition. It's just that if I have 4 or 5 names on through all my filtering and they all look like they want to go, I don't use it as an either or, Mark. So I just put the orders in for all of them so that I know when I get filled, I'm not gonna, you know, I won't get knocked out because I don't have enough margin to cover the stock or the futures trade.
Like, how do you handle environments like this where almost anything you're going to touch or trade is going to be impacted by these headlines, even copper?
Yeah.
Right. These were tariff headlines, were they not? This is trade war stuff. It's like every big move. So it's noise, but you have to be aware of it, right? How do you kind of work with that information? Do you weigh it at all?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on the stuff with Victor is purely systematic, so there's no discretion whatsoever.
Great.
And that's built more like a portfolio anyway. It's a long short index that's continually invested that resets every month. On the discretionary side, the best thing you can do is trade it smaller or use options. Right? Because there's no other way. Like, our goal, even if you're hell bent for election as a speculator, your number one job is to play superior defense. Where I don't think the winners necessarily just automatically take care of themselves. I think you have to protect your cash, even if you're making money. You have to manage your risk.
A wise man, Sean McLaughlin, once said that options give you options.
Yeah, wisdom bombs in there. It allows you to sleep at night. You give up. Certainly, if you're trading, 25 deltas, it takes you a while to make your money. And if you're using ATR based stuff and you multiply it out, you just have to be careful that when you put on a trade, make sure that there's a way for you to make money. Because if you need the thing to make 20 points just for you can make 1/4 or 0.5%, it might not be worth the risk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always think, like, when we do coaching, it's one of the first things we talk about is your goal. Like, what is it that you want your money to do for you? How do you want trading to serve you in your life? And what would make sense, as opposed to just saying, oh, I'm going to put on this trade, I'll do the 2-for-1, all this and that, and then I'll take whatever the market can give me. I think people can empower themselves and come into the market, act more intentionally, and say, here's what I need. I can't be making $40 an hour because it's not much better than minimum wage at that point. If I look at all, the time I'm sitting in front of the screen divided by the hours, what I make divided by the hours, I like to get people to think a little more boldly and say, you have the right to come to the market and start thinking about 50% or better in terms of your rate of return. Like, empower yourself and take those actions.
And the being intentional in your trading, it oozes out of you when you discuss this stuff. Spencer, you notice how Michael can't discuss one of his trades or even one of his ideas without going right to risk reward.
Yeah.
So it's the first thing out of his mouth, right? You're just built that way. That's the way your brain is automatically thinking, is this even worth it for me? Should I even be looking at this chart right now? What's the risk reward here, right? First thing.
Great stuff as always. Michael Martin is the author of The Inner Voice of Trading. It is such an easy read. I mean that as a compliment. It's like the anti intelligent investor. It's like the anti slog. You can bang it out in like a day or like a weekend. It's like super easy to get through. And great stuff, Michael. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Comment in the chat here. I love Michael Martin. His channel is awesome, almost like a trader's religious experience.
Michael wrote that about
cash.
himself.
This has to be a market top. Let's protect my equity.
Michael wrote that about himself. Thanks a lot, Michael.
Thanks,
always
guys.
a pleasure, my friend.
All right.
So good. We're so lucky.
Yes, extremely lucky.
Guests.
Extremely. Let's bring out Mary real fast, and then we'll do recess, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah,
because it's already 9:37. It's late. 9:37.
Guys, watch those cryptos. Watch those cryptos.
Yeah,
watch them.
Good morning. Oh, we got the HODL hat on. Excellent.
Gotta do it. JC brought his shirt. JC was more prepared than me to that. Yes.
I've got my bullish mug.
It's a bull market, Mary.
It is. It really is.
What are you trading? Trading?
Let's talk about the BTC. I know you guys were talking about it earlier. You've got the HODL hat on. So, I mean, let's revisit. So for me, I've been watching kind of just daily. I'm always up on my screen. What is BTC doing? Because last week, what was it, Wednesday that I was pinging you, Steve? It started to move really early in the morning, right as trading was going. We were busting through, and it looked like we were breaking through this kind of flag that had been built, and I was getting very excited. Didn't end up sticking that, so we have still been kind of consolidating here, and so Bitcoin is where my attention has been. And kind of waiting to see when this resolves, hopefully higher, and get through this 110 area, because then path of least resistance is up. So I was actually talking to the analyst team yesterday, because I've got lots of positions in lots of different Bitcoin plays. But I think for me, and I'm curious, Steve, what your thought is on kind of this question. When I started adding these Bitcoin miner plays, this was a couple of years ago before ETFs existed. And there weren't a lot of options to trade Bitcoin with equities. And so since all of those options have opened up, the miners have not been the place to be. And so if we break through and start this next leg higher in BTC, what's the play? I brought along the Coinbase chart just because if Bitcoin goes, the alts go, and Coinbase looks fantastic, ready to complete a base and path of least resistance higher on Coinbase as well. And we've always talked about MSTR being the Bitcoin play, Coinbase being the alts. For me, I'm just not really entirely sure where to be positioned anymore because the miners haven't played out the way that I thought they would a couple of years ago because things change. So what say you?
I think it's the right question, the right kind of question to ask right now, right? Do I want to be in Bitcoin or should I be in the other vehicles? Are there better ways to express that bullish thesis? And I think eventually it is going to be you want to own the alts, you want to own the higher beta crypto vehicles. I even still think like the Bitcoin miners will have their day. Maybe it happens at the same time as the altcoins. I don't know. There are high watermarks, or call them like break even prices for these Bitcoin miners that once the price of Bitcoin gets comfortably above, they can ideally, they say, be profitable. We'll see. Also, I think just really significant bullish tailwind, the development CoreWeave buying Core Scientific. That's big, legitimizes these businesses a little bit, at least the data center focused ones, right? So you're seeing stuff like IREN, IREN, looking better than anything out here in terms of a crypto vehicle. So I think you do want to think outside of the box, and that moment's going to come where you want to own the other stuff more and Bitcoin less. Maybe it's starting today, but I think you just got to watch those relative trends, right? And follow like the primary trend reversals, the stuff that's showing that they can outperform more and more in the future because that primary trend turned in relative terms. You just lean into that.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Coinbase.
Yeah, I was going to say Coinbase, same thing, right?
Yeah, I brought that chart along. I mean, do we have the chart?
Yes, we do. Yep, we got it.
I think Galaxy Digital is really interesting. GLXY should work better and better in an altcoin bull market.
Okay.
Yeah, this is so good. I mean, is this not going to look more like Robinhood soon? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I love a big base. So
Robinhood not only broke out and took out those old all-time highs, but it just kept running.
yes, it sure did. What a great
Really
trade. So I've also been poking around. I did put on, you guys were talking about China in the morning show a couple days ago, or just yesterday. I don't remember which day. So I got involved in the Kingsoft. That's one that was a winner for me earlier in the year. And I think you guys have actually a breakout multiplier trade on this one. I'm not doing the options. I'm just in the common, but nice flag here. Again, we had that big move and we've been just kind of chopping around above that prior resistance zone. That's kind of what I really like about it. We've got a nice coil that's been building here for the last couple of weeks. Opened down this morning, kind of starting the morning a little rough, but
China looks like crap today. They had like inflation data out overnight. I think it's time to start taking shots on China again. But again, gotta see it.
Yeah,
gotta see
exactly.
it. These charts gotta start moving up and to the right again.
They do. And for me, if we start losing, what is that? If we start losing 10, then all bets are off, and I'm gonna be exiting that one. So I got involved in Kingsoft. I've also I've been kind of poking around in just kind of the more risky assets, and I had an alert go off on a biotech stock yesterday, MGTX. I am not in this one, but what I love about this chart, I don't know where I got this from. Great base. And if you really zoom out, this is such a clear level, a key polarity zone, right about 850. I'm not in it yet. I'm going to wait to see if we actually bust through and close above that 850 level. But, these are the kind of stocks that I'm kind of waiting on to get going and get moving because, we've talked, and several of our guests have talked about, in bull markets, you eventually see all these laggers finally start to move. And I'm, waiting for biotechs to participate. A lot of regional banks were hitting my scan, just a simple scan that I personally do. I'm going to start kind of diving into some of the regional banks. Some of those charts look fantastic. So yeah, that's kind of where my head is at these days.
Mary, are you familiar with the 3 Bs?
The 3 Bs.
Yeah.
Banks, bios, Bitcoin.
Banks. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I'm looking at the 3 Bs these days.
It's banks, bios, and builders. Thanks for reading my shit, guys.
Sorry.
I think you got to buy.
We publish a
all
lot of
these.
stuff.
But you're not wrong. These stocks are popping up on all the scans, and I would argue that biotechs are already participating. They're here. You just got to look at the good ones. A lot of the way these indexes are built, pretty trashy. Biotech indexes are worse than the small cap 2000.
Well, XBI doesn't look fantastic. That's why, I was surprised when a biotech hit my scan yesterday. Yeah.
It's too broad. But biotechs are going to keep hitting your scans because the good ones look great and are breaking out.
Okay.
Same with regional banks. And I think you got to just look at the builders right now. They're digging in. Look at something like Builders First Source. Look at the mortgage providers. I think you got to buy the hell out of these stocks. The interest rate sensitive groups, banks, builders, biotechs, maybe Bitcoin speculative growth, Spencer, they're telling us something. They're telling us something about the bond market. And they're also saying, guys, buy us, buy a lot of us. Also, we're getting positive feed. Keep talking about materials. Very interested in materials. We were just talking about commodities and commodity stocks with Michael Martin. We bought calls in Dow and Lionel Basil late last week. Already got the double. That's positive feedback, right? That's the market telling us. We listen to the message of the market. It's the market telling us buy more materials stocks. They keep working. So I think there's really something there with XLB and friends.
Mark in the chat, HBM, yes, still like it. It closed above that 10 level that I was interested in. That you just make sure you zoom out on that one, because when I was posted that chart, that was a monthly chart. So just know the kind of time horizon that one's on. But above 10, yeah, like it. That's copper.
Hell yeah. That's a really nice breakout. And somebody else in the chat was saying they loved the coil in Dow. You need to join Breakout Multiplier if you're talking like that. You need to be in Breakout Multiplier with that kind of talk. Because we loved the coil too. We're making money.
Breakoutmultiplier.com for those who are not in Breakout Multiplier. Let's do some recess and hop out of here.
Sounds good.
All right, we got a picture here, some quarterbacks.
Yeah, so PSA. Yeah, so Quarterback season 2 just hit Netflix, and I was very excited about this because 2 of my 3 boys are here. So I've got my boy Kirk Cousins because he is from where I live here in Holland, to my kids' school. And then we've got, of course, Goff, who is the quarterback of the Detroit Lions, because they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm just putting it out there, speaking it into existence. Joe, I don't really care about, but I love he's playing for one of those teams down in one of those other states that we won't mention. But anyway, so this hit Netflix. I'm very excited to watch this. I watched the first season, which had Kirk Cousins in it as well. And so PSA, if you're a football fan, this just hit Netflix. And
Mary, I made it through like half of season 1. I don't know if I need more Kirk Cousins in my life. He's a very wholesome dude. Seems like a very nice guy. I don't know.
Why I love him.
I don't know if I need to watch more of him being wholesome.
But you've got to think there's got to be a lot of drama surrounding the fact that he was traded or went from the Vikings over to the Falcons, and then they drafted one of those first top round pick quarterbacks, and so he was immediately benched. So you got to think there's drama from last season.
Perhaps.
Speaking of drama,
I'll let you know.
All right.
Speaking of drama,
you tell me, and then I'll watch.
I've been watching F Girl Island on HBO. Just a real sucker for trashy reality TV. Plenty of drama there.
Wait, is this like a spin-off of F Boy Island?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
I've never even heard of these.
They're doing the opposite sex thing.
Yeah, there's just more girls and less boys.
Interesting.
It's pretty good.
All right. I'm still neck deep in The Sopranos, everyone. I've been on this for most of the year.
You're never going to watch anything again.
Finish the show.
2 or 3 years.
We are almost done with season 5. We've got like 3 episodes. And then season 6 is a big one, and then we're done. So we have basically a season and change left.
Yeah,
it is a double. It's a double. So we watch like 1 or 2 a week. It's very slow and steady wins the race, but we're getting there. We're gonna get there one of these days. All right.
Favorite characters.
I was thinking last night my favorite character is probably Silvio Dante.
That's good. He's good. Yeah.
Also because the dude is like literally Sopranos was like his second career. His first career is as
E Street Band.
in the E Street Band with Bruce Springsteen. So he's like the most New Jersey guy of all time.
Yes, he is.
Sopranos and Bruce Springsteen. But he, he'll come in for 5 minutes an episode and he'll go, and I'm like, that's my guy. So anyway, okay, what do we got today on the channel? We got Kenny is live. He'll be live all day. If you want to join him, use that link at the top of the chat on YouTube. Hot Corner Insider members, you'll get your weekly video with Fonz. That'll be at 1 o'clock. And then Sean is doing a new thing. If you are in All-Star Options, you'll get the very first episode of the All-Star Options Masterclass. That'll be today at 3 o'clock. We'll have emails. Don't worry. It'll be a replay. Not to worry. If you're not a member of All-Star Options, email us. That'd probably be the easiest way. You can join us on our site, but I'll just put the email up on the screen. You can reach out to Mary. Where's the email to info?
This is going to be so good. This is something that Sean has been working on for some time now. If you're interested in trading options, just learning more about options, seeing if trading options is maybe for you, Sean is your guy. There's nobody better to kind of help you on your journey.
Yep. And then Riley Roseby going live at 4 o'clock to talk about the future of whatever is on his mind.
The future.
The future's the future.
Just the humanoids.
Yeah, the humanoids are taking over. Anyway, that's what we got on the channel today. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, JC, for gracing us with your presence. As always, we'll be back tomorrow morning with tomorrow's gonna be fun. We have Jeff Weiss joining us from Ireland.
Ooh.
So it's gonna be
That's going to be a doozy.
Yes.
Of an interview.
Yes, Jeff Weiss plus Ireland. It's gonna be fun.
Great.
We'll see you guys for that. Thanks for watching. Go make some money.
Hump day.
Bye, guys.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off.